What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dudes Who Bet Daily, September 11th, 2022. And I guess we're so uninteresting that Papa Dude just decided to take off.
He's back.
He's back. How's it going, boys? Aaron, you were at the Oklahoma game yesterday. They got it going in the second half. You missed, I think you missed, the Texas-Alabama game where Texas put quite a scare into the Crimson Tide. Did you get to watch that game at all?
We listened to the game all the way down on the drive, so we didn't get to watch it. We did listen to it. Yeah, pretty amazing. Texas, I'm gonna just say probably should have won. They couldn't make enough plays at the end to win, but their quarterback, who was torching Alabama early, also got hurt and probably made the difference there. Shocked, definitely shocked. It sounded like Bryce Young made a play at the end to kind of get him in field goal range, and it sounded like Texas kind of were blitzing. They had him, and he got away, made a nice scramble to get him in range. Our game, it was not a good first half, but a really good second half. I really don't know what Oklahoma is at this point. I don't think we're bad. I don't think we're great.
Yeah, the Alabama or the Texas Longhorns at one point had 5 red zone possessions, and I believe it was 15 points or 14 points. That's not going to get it done against Alabama. It was one of those games where it felt like Texas should have been up more. And when they weren't, you kind of had that feeling that Alabama was going to come back and get them. Papa Dude, did you get a chance to watch any of the late night games? We had BYU play an absolute barn burner, go to overtime. Did you catch that one? And if not, what was your favorite team from yesterday that you saw?
Well, the only game we saw was the one we were at. The thing is, Aaron and I listened to the BYU Baylor game all the way home. Yeah. And it was going in right at the end of the game whenever I got in the car to come on home. I didn't get home till 1:30 in the morning, so didn't get to see any of it, listen to a lot of it. That was a great game. I knew it would be. There are just so many takeaways from yesterday. I mean, I love Saban's press conference after. I don't know if you guys had a chance to listen to it. I heard this morning. He is so matter of fact in these kind of games. Yeah. You know, he's kind of mellowed a little bit, I think. You know, you win that many games, you're going to, and he just said it. He goes, guys, we didn't play good. We just didn't. We shot ourselves in the foot. And he goes, I'm going to tell you something. Texas is a hell of a lot better than what people think they are. And so I really loved his press conference yesterday. But man, so many takeaways. Notre Dame. Read something this morning. I don't think it's the worst loss in history, but it's really an embarrassing loss for them. Mm-hmm. So they have mucho problems. How about Iowa? They've given up 13 points and they're 1-1.
that under. I should have given that under as the best bet yesterday. I had that under for a half, under game. I bet it under in game. I mean, Iowa's offense is literally insulting to watch. If you need to take a nap, just throw on Iowa tape. It is that bad to watch that offense play.
It's unbelievable. Then Wisconsin got beat. Yep. It was a crazy day. One of those days you just win your game and you don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it was nuts yesterday.
Scott Frost loses at Nebraska to Georgia Southern too. That's a brutal loss after that Northwestern one, starting out 0-2. You got to think that his seat is not just hot; it's absolutely on fire right now down there. So it's an interesting day of college football. We're going to move it forward. We're going to talk a little bit of NFL. First thing we're going to talk about here, the game we were looking forward to the most today. Aaron Halterman, you want to kick us off? What game are you looking forward to?
You're going to like my answer. I'm really looking forward to the Patriots and the Dolphins. They usually have a very good game when these two teams get together. Yes, there it is. I know, huge Dolphins guy. Yes. I'm looking forward to it. I kind of adopted the Dolphins. I did last season. I kind of liked them, and they weren't great, but they weren't horrible. I really am excited to see what their offense is all about. I think it's a really good first week test for the Patriots, or bringing a Patriots defense in there. That's usually pretty solid. I'm looking forward to this game. It's always a good game when they get together. And now I think the Dolphins have a legitimate shot to make some noise this year. So I'm excited for that one.
That's an excellent pick. I can't wait. I don't know. I was in on Tua, then I was out on Tua. Right now, I'm really confused about whether or not Tua is good. Really excited to see our new head coach, the new offensive scheme. And there's a ton of buzz around the Patriots, Papa Dude, about how bad they were in the preseason. And their offense is being called by Mike Patricia and Belichick. Like, hey, what's going on in New England?
Yeah, I'm not high on them at all. I can't get out of my mind the collapse of last year. They were god awful down the stretch. And I think if they win that game, that's a red flag for Miami. I think if you can't ever bet against the Patriots much, but I think Miami gets that game today. I think the Raiders-Chargers game will be an outstanding game. I think that'll be a high scoring. I would be shocked if it's not. Of course, the Chiefs in Arizona, that's going to be good. And Tampa and Dallas tonight, right?
Yeah, all three excellent games. You got J.C. Jackson, the starting cornerback, out for the Chargers, so that should make that even more of a high-scoring game there, the Raiders-Chargers game. Divisional AFC West game, really interesting week one as well, right, Aaron? I mean, that division is going to be awfully tough. This could decide a playoff spot here.
You bet.
I think it's going to be awesome. These games within the division this year are going to be awesome. And, yeah, the Raiders-Chargers, that's a good pick as well.
I can't wait to see Sunday night game. I think that the league did a wonderful job here having Bucks and the Cowboys on Sunday night. To me, there's a ton of storylines. Obviously, everything surrounding Tom Brady. You've got multiple offensive linemen out for Tampa to see. We'll see if that Dallas defense can actually turn the ball over like they did last year to other teams. You got no Amari Cooper, so less weapons for Dak. How does he respond? I mean, there's so many different things to look for in that Sunday night game that one is I just cannot wait to get to that Sunday game, although there's a bunch of great ones on the slate all over the place. Real quick, two quick line moves I want to talk about. So we had a big-time line move on the total in Chicago. If you've not seen yet, it is an absolute monsoon there right now, and they just replaced the turf. So expect a little bit of a train wreck up there in Chicago. We'll see what happens there. That total has moved from 42 to 38.5 today.
Wow.
So as soon as the national broadcast came on, you started to see it, and it does not look pretty. We'll just put it that way.
Wow.
So big time total move there. And then the Bengals have moved to 7.5 point favorites from 6.5. So through 7 to 7.5, huge money move there. You guys interested in this Bengals Steelers game? What are you expecting from Mitch Trubisky today, Papa Dude?
I think if the Bengals don't cover that, how good are they? Don't you think the Steelers might be one of the worst teams in the league?
Yes.
I think the only thing is they're Pittsburgh, and they find a way sometimes when you doubt them. But you know what? If you don't have a quarterback, I don't care how good a coach you are. And I think he does a great job. I think they're in transition. I really do.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot about both these teams today, because if the Bengals don't blow them out, you gotta be concerned here. Did you play that game at all, Aaron?
I'm going Bengals all the way. It's not one of my picks here, but I listen, the Steelers, I think they're going to be awful. Mitch Trubisky, I mean, really? That's the quarterback? Like, he
might be better than Big Ben last year, though. You might be upgrading your quarterback, ironically.
I don't know.
He might be, but that's one thing Big Ben would not do is turn the ball over a lot. I just if the Bengals don't win this game, that's a major disappointment.
I saw another line, Mike. You watch these a lot, and I didn't see anything yesterday because I was on the road. I think it was like Thursday. Detroit was 4, and now it's 5.5. Did I read that right this morning?
Yeah, it actually got all the way to 6 at one point. And this is this is crazy. If you watched last year, especially early in the season, the Eagles were the popular team every single Sunday morning. The Eagles line would move between 1.5 and 2 points. There were a couple syndicates that had them rated extremely high, and so they would start to get steam in the market and then just keep it going. Apparently, death taxes and Sunday morning Eagles money is becoming apparent. I was shocked when I saw this line move. To me, it's like you saw Jacksonville, Washington move from 2.5 out to 3 in a lot of places. You can still get a couple 2.5s. You saw Miami go to 4 and then back down to 3, and 2.5 is available in a couple places on Miami now. It's like you've had these lines up for 4 months. It's amazing to me that you see this much Sunday line movement, and it's through key numbers too. Like that Cincinnati going through 7 is crazy. That there's these different situations where you just don't expect that much money to come in and move these numbers after they've been on the board for 4 full months.
Just to throw one more real quick, because I've been interested in the Carolina and the Browns game. Obviously, that thing's been all over the place. It's now it wasn't even this morning. Now Carolina's -1. They've been as high as like -2.5 or 3. That was later, like a couple of weeks ago. That one's been wild. I don't know. I guess people are just very undecided on who to pick in that one.
And the thing is, there's not news there either. A lot of times, for instance, the other line that moved, the Vikings were +1.5. They're now -2. There's 2 offensive linemen that were announced out that were not officially out going into the day. That's what moved that line. That makes sense. You lose 2 offensive linemen, the line should move. You don't have injury moves in any of these games. It's just steam going one way or the other. And I love seeing that on a Sunday morning because it means that there's a lot of money being thrown down in a lot of places, both public and professional bettors. So fun to see those moves. We'll get into our best bets. We've got a couple of them coming up from the NFL here. But first, let's kick it off at Del Mar, race number 10. We've got the Del Mar Futurity. It's a grade 1 for 2-year-olds going 7 furlongs, and it's highlighted by the return of Cave Rock. Aaron, we got 2 Bafferts in here. Cave Rock, obviously the interesting one. Steve O'Sammy, whatever the heck his horse name yesterday. We should probably talk about him too at some point. But let's start with Cave Rock. Do you like him on top here? Is he going to be tough to beat?
Yeah, I think so. But listen, how loaded is Bob Baffert? And he's got another one, Havana Meltdown. And, who knows? I don't know if Mike Smith can win a race anymore. That's the thing. If you like the 8, I would be really worried because to me, Mike Smith on home cooking yesterday, that was just a pathetic effort. That horse should never have lost that race. That was pathetic. And I'm not a guy that calls out jockeys a lot. He's pathetic. So I don't know. You can back the 8 with Mike Smith aboard, but Cave Rock the 7 before yesterday. It's like, wow, this is Baffert's best horse. Really impressive. But then, like you said, we talked about the maiden race yesterday, race 6. Baffert runs 1, 2, 3. The winner breaks a track record and gets a 104 buyer. The second place finisher gets 100 buyer. I mean, incredible. So listen, Baffert, you got to go with one of them here. Cave Rock was just fantastic on debut. I can't go against him. I went with him on top in this one.
Yeah, watch out for $200,000 buy-ins. That is definitely what we learned yesterday. Breaking track records.
How impressive was that horse?
Wildly impressive. The horse broke decent enough, got to the front, and just absolutely gave the shrugged his shoulder to Hijazi, who's a $3.5 million horse running 100 buyer.
Yeah.
And on the Hijazi, you do have the one classical cat who beat him first time out, got a 71 buyer, but that number looks a little low now, and that race looks a lot better after what we saw Hijazi capable of second start. I think the one's a little interesting at 8-1. The Baffert I would be into is Newgate here. If I'm going to try and beat Cave Rock, I'm not going to. Spoiler alert, we're going with Cave Rock on top. But Newgate is the Baffert that I thought was a little bit interesting. Broke his maiden at Del Mar. Johnny V is back up. You've seen Johnny V get a lot of Baffert's really good horses, and so I'm a little interested in Newgate as well. But to me, this is probably Cave Rock, and it's probably not close.
I would think. I mean, if he runs back to that race, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. And he beat a horse named Practical Move that had a little bit of hype coming into the race, and he just destroyed him. So, I mean, one of these Bafferts are going to win, right?
Yeah, you'd think so. All right, let's jump over to Kentucky Downs, where if you thought Mike Smith was bad, let's talk a little about Joel Rosario. He had the worst day pretty much I've ever seen any top jockey have yesterday. Rides in 2, 3, and 4 were awful. His ride in the last race on the favorite was atrocious. You can't be that far off the pace. The ownership group said as much. If you want to get a laugh, go read the comments from the ownership group after that last race, because man, they blasted Joel Rosario without blasting Joel Rosario. So that was pretty awesome there. Aaron, any Rosario comments here, or you just want to laugh at him?
Well, it's funny because Jalen texts me. He's like, Rosario just killed Gaffo, and it's like that was actually his best ride. It wasn't good, but it's like he actually gave him a shot. I thought. You're right. The rest of them, it's like you didn't even give them a chance. I mean, it's universal, right? Like sometimes we'll complain about a jockey, and it's like, well, it's probably just we lost a bet. It was universal across the board. The trainer, the owners, everybody on Twitter. It was just like, I don't know what you're doing today. So crazy.
His ride on McLovin wasn't terrible, but I was mocking him for horses I didn't bet. Where it's like you just watch the race, you're like, what are you doing? You're just getting these horses in trouble every single time, and you're in the back of the field when you can't close going one turn.
Well, like with the big invasion thing, that horse, maybe he was a little flat. And listen, like I said to you guys in the group chat, when you send a horse to Kentucky Downs, you get what you get, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't think you should complain much because it's an awkward place, and you just don't know if they're going to take to it or not. But you're right. I mean, you get a horse like him, he can sit closer, and he had him in traffic everywhere. And he was a little flat, sure, but he still ran on for third. Like once they got where he could run a little bit, he did run. So just head scratchers all across the board.
And now, on that note, let's talk about the Grade 3 ladies marathon, where I like Rosario on top. We got Adventuring, who is clearly lone speed, so we'll see how this works out. The other thing about Rosario is he probably could win 5 today if like, for some reason, because that's how he is. He just has these days where he's awful, and then the next day he's phenomenal, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, and that's what's so frustrating about it. But I do like Adventuring quite a bit in this spot. Should be able to make the lead pretty easy. Second off the layoff, second out as a 4-year-old. Family way in here, your 3-2 favorite, the 8 horse, going to take a ton of money for Brandon Walsh. Tyler Gaffalione up, who's had a phenomenal meet, 9 of 45 so far. Aaron, where'd you go here?
Let me comment on this because he's always here watching us for the horse racing. The big invasion bet, if you got him at 15-8 in your markets, that's fantastic. But 11-8 on home cooking, and there's no reason the horse should have lost. So I feel terrible for you. That was terrible. All right, this race, look. I get it. Adventuring, lone speed, tracks playing the speed. Got to have that horse on a ticket. Family way, to me, though, it's like, good Lord. This horse has gotten beat by some of the best ones, in this division. Only lost a length and 3/4 Warlike Goddess. Only lost a half length to Bleecker Street. Last time out on the green dirt at Churchill Downs, got beat by Delika by 2.5. Delika came back and won yesterday. At some point, this horse has got to win. This is a class drop. This is the easiest field she's faced in a while. I get it. Lone speed, Rosario, surely going to go gate to wire, right? Nah, I'll take the 8 family way.
Yeah, what could go wrong there with Rosario getting a horse out and in front? I'm going 1-8, but I have the 8 on top. But I like the 1 price-wise. I'm going to play the 1 most likely. I'm use them both. I'm not going to let the 1 or the 8 knock me out of multi-race tickets. But this is one of those few races at Kentucky Downs I think you can go short in. If you're playing pick 4s, pick 5s, you got to pick your spots. And this is one of those spots where I think you can go 1 or 2 deep.
Well, listen, if you think you're going to go 1 or 2 deep, go ahead and single Vibranium or whatever the hell that Vibranum, whoever the hell that. I mean, because that's how it is. Like yesterday, you were live to like 5 or 6 horses in the last leg. And I text you and it's like, well, famous last words of Kentucky Downs, but this thing is covered. And then a horse that's just like, I would have had him in 12 deep to play the horse that won. So
yeah, it's frustrating too because like the last 2 horses on that ticket were both closers. After watching the first half of that card, I would have liked to change those away from closers, but the sequence already started. What can you do, right? So I still wouldn't have been on brand. So that at least didn't hurt. If it was Artemis City Limits, I would have been pissed. All right, let's talk about because he was gettable. Let's talk about our best bets for the day. Magic not able to join us. He plays the Washington Commanders. His logic is flawed, but I will give it to you anyway. We've got a veteran coach and a veteran quarterback facing a first-time coach and a second-year quarterback. I think the coach and the quarterback are both better in Washington because it's Peterson, and I would take Trevor Lawrence over Carson Wentz any day of the week. So I have Jacksonville plus 3.5. 2.5 is available. Minus 2.5 for Washington is available. So Magic's going to play the Commanders here. Minus 2.5. Papa Dude, Aaron, thoughts on this game? We'll start with you, Papa Dude.
Well, I'm not going to knock Magic. He's hot, but it's CFL he's so hot on. I wish he was on here today. I was wanting to pat him on the back. It's incredible. What is he now? 10 out of his last 11 or something like that in the CFL?
It's amazing, man. It's a great lesson where if you find these smaller markets that aren't being as bet, you can often find easier lines to play. I mean, the NFL is so mature from a market perspective. It's hard to find edges. But CFL, Magic's finding them, and he's crushing it.
Well, he is. The only thing is, Doug Peterson is not a first-time coach,
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Coach. Yeah. So he's a little flawed on that one, but I'm not arguing with Magic. No way.
Well, my argument would be, why are you playing this game? Why would anybody play this game? I mean, this is a terrible game. This is probably the worst game of the day.
Right. I'm not going to. It's a horrible game. I'll agree with that.
In a week filled with fantastic games, this is the worst.
Well, I wish he was on here to defend himself. He has a strategy now. There's no question.
I think the San Francisco-Chicago game is worse. So let's transition to my best bet. I'm going to go ahead and take the San Francisco touchdown first score.
It's raining.
This is why. The rain is a big factor. I think this line is mispriced. Field goals are right around or a little bit higher priced, but with the rain, you're going to see a ton of running from San Francisco. Field goals are harder to convert. San Francisco will not take this long shots at field goals. Neither will Chicago. So you need to be in the red zone really to be kicking a field goal in this monsoon, especially with the turf the way it is. It leans toward touchdowns. Then who do you think is going to score first? You think it's San Francisco or Chicago? I heavily favor San Francisco on that side, and I'm getting plus money here. So I'm going to go plus 145. San Francisco scores the first touchdown of the game in San Francisco and Chicago. It refunds if no one scores, although I would assume it's not going to be 0-0. I don't think defensive score for San Francisco is out of the question here either, with Justin Fields who's going to be running around for his life. And like in a monsoon, I'm going to favor touchdowns over field goals any day of the week.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I get it.
We're getting a little bit.
They're logical to score first, the first touchdown. They are the logical pick.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get that favorite to cross the goal line first for us. Papa Dude, heading over to Major League Baseball, you want to tell us a little bit about the Rangers?
Well, first of all, I want to explain. I want to apologize to the Queen because I think karma has bit me. Before we go on here, I made light of the death of the Queen. I didn't really mean it. I mean, I just didn't think it was a tragedy at 96.
So backtracking now that you've got back karma.
I know. And I just, Queen, if you're up there listening, please, please, please lift it off of me because I haven't got anything right since. So that's one thing I can blame it on. So I'm doing away with football today because it was awful. So I'm going to a baseball game that I kind of like this one. Toronto needs this game much, much more than Texas. That's my worry. Will Texas show up? But the pitching matchup's not even close. Toronto's thrown out a relief pitcher because I think one of their starters is hurt. So they're kind of hurting right now. They've run out of starters. This may be his first start of the year. I backtracked. I couldn't find where he's even started a game. So he's not going to go very long. They're going to have to get into the bullpen, and that's always kind of an issue. And Texas has their best pitcher going. Martin Perez, been solid all year, has great stats, pitched a great game against Houston, one of the best teams in baseball last time out. They should win this game. Toronto won the first two of the series. That's good. If Texas comes out ready to play, I think they win this. We got a good price, so I'm going with the Rangers.
Yeah, it's a good call. Trevor Richards, pitcher for Toronto. His most innings pitched in a month is 12.1 in a whole month. So I'm guessing we're not going to see him for more than 2 today. Got a 4.71 ERA. We're going to get into that Toronto bullpen early, and you nailed it. I mean, we've got Texas's top starter here. So as long as they get the bats going, they should be good here. All right, Aaron, wrap us up with the last best bet here. I actually like this one too. I went and bet it after you texted it to us. I didn't know it was out there. Tell us a little bit why there's going to be a ton of points down in the desert.
Yeah, listen, I was just like every game. It's like, yeah, I could see that going either way when you get to the point spreads. But my strongest opinion is I think it's going to be a shootout between Kansas City and Arizona. I do not like the Kansas City secondary, and I do not like anything about Arizona's defense ever. So I went Mahomes and Murray both getting over 1.5 passing touchdowns. And so my theory is this: Mahomes 2 touchdowns through the air against Arizona. Come on, right? Yeah. Murray, listen, he plays great early in the year when he's healthy. You do worry that maybe Murray might run for a couple touchdowns and take a passing touchdown away. I think he's the one that is questionable. But overall, I think he should get 2 passing touchdowns against the Chiefs. I think it's a high-scoring game. My strongest opinion of the day is, listen, it's going to probably be, both teams in the high 20s, low 30s at least in Arizona. And if they get there, you got to think the quarterbacks are going to throw touchdown passes. So I thought it was good, and I loved the plus 150. That was the big key to this thing. Getting plus 150 on this bet is solid. I don't have any reason to doubt that this is going to happen today, so I'll take it.
Yeah, you're really just betting Murray plus 150. I mean, there's no way Mahomes doesn't throw it too. Right? I think
absolutely.
I think his total is 2.5 right now if you want to bet the over-under for touchdowns. So you're really just betting, does Murray throw too? And you mentioned, obviously, you can run it in. You got James Conner. So they do run quite a bit inside the 5. But you would think that with the game flow here, you're going to see some passing touchdowns come along. You agree with that, Papa Dude?
Yeah, definitely. Murray would be the worry.
Yeah.
Times because he might run some in.
Yeah.
But if Mahomes doesn't get that, Arizona's going to win this game.
Yeah.
if Mahomes doesn't get if Murray gets like 4 and Mahomes gets 1, I may never come on the show again. If Mahomes is the one that beats me today, I will never be on the show again.
Well,
I have a feeling we're about to see an FU season from the Chiefs. I think that they are pissed that everyone forgot about them, and Mahomes takes notes, and he is the 5th best quarterback right now on the NFL list, and he and Andy Reid. You realize Andy Reid's been to more AFC and NFC title games than the rest of the coaches in that division have coached years. It's that lopsided when you think about it. You've got 1 second-year coach, and then Josh McDaniels who coached 1 year and was a train wreck, and a new coach. Yep. Literally 2 seasons worth of coaching versus Andy Reid's, 7, 8 NFC and AFC title games. So don't sleep on the Chiefs. I think that's going to be one of the narratives coming out of today. You can still get a 10-1 to win the Super Bowl. Just throwing it out there. Really quick before we go, Papa Dude. What happened with Nevada yesterday? We talked about that syndicate move. Like, it was one of those trap games, and we joked about it, obviously. And man, Nevada came out well and then just got steamboated.
I want to take back everything nice I said about Magic a while ago. Magic, I hope you weren't listening because Ace bragged on you up one side and down the other. Now you really pissed me off. So, this was not brought up. Mike was nice, thank God. And then you bring it up, and anyway, I don't even want to talk about it. That's why I didn't bet college football today, because of that.
Yeah, we were walking to the game, and it was 10-0, and we were like, "Oh yeah!" And we sat down, and that game was getting ready to kick off, and it was 17-3. We're like, "Oh, they got this." And then the next time we checked it, they were behind, and they were never ahead again.
Yeah. And it was not close. Once they got Incarnate Word got their offense rolling, that it was just over. So that was a wild game. It was one of those. So you just look at the board and you're like, ooh, I see this and I want to bet Nevada. Why shouldn't I? Because there has to be a reason this thing's moving in this direction. All right, let's head over to the best bets here. As we read these off, make sure you drop your best bets in the chat. We'll throw them up here once we sign off. All right, Magic going with the Commanders -2.5. Aaron going with Murray and Mahomes over 1.5 passing touchdowns +150. They each need over 1.5. I'm going to Papa going with the Rangers +100. I'm going to go to San Francisco, Chicago. Take the first score of the game is going to be a San Francisco touchdown +145. Yesterday sucked. Went 1-3 for the week. We're 7-8 down $1.95. Show's still up $1,955 off $100 base units. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Good luck here with week 1. Don't forget to watch these two guys down here talk on Dudes Who Bet Sports tomorrow at 6 o'clock, right after the Magic Mike Show, which goes live at 5 o'clock for the Monday Night Football Countdown. I believe Slim's going to be joining them as well with some prop bets, so make sure you're checking that out. Yeah, I'm just announcing it now, Magic. Aaron. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We will be back on Wednesday at noon. Have a good week. Good luck today.